So instead of going and buying $50 worth of metal to make a roof rack, which is what I should be doing, I found this bed frame at a job I worked at, and I think I'm going to try to make this into a roof rack for the camper, because why not spend hours and hours and hours working on something that would probably be much easier just to start fresh from scratch. That's just how my brain works. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is start stripping this thing down. I don't think it needs all this reinforcement. I'm going to try to make it a little bit lighter. We'll see what happens. I may end up scrapping this whole thing. Got it all cleaned up. So we just have the outer ring here, which is all I really wanted. So this thing's in two pieces here, as you can see. I'm going to go ahead and weld it up into one solid piece. So I've cut the bed down to the size I want, and what I did is I made some relief cuts in the metal, kind of make the shape of the roof flush to the roof as possible. I actually want it basically sitting on the rooftop. I don't want these panels, the solar panels, to stick up very high. For the feet, what I've done is I had two of these that were left over from a project I did a long while back. I got these on eBay, and they're laser cut. They're pretty nice, but I didn't want to buy a whole new set for this. So all I did is I basically copied the design. This is 3.5 inch flat bar, and this is 1.5 inch flat bar. And all I did was I just cut them out and kind of copied the shape. Bend this. You can bend this in your vise. So they're not as nice looking as the laser cut stuff, but they'll do the job. Alright, so I have a slight change of plans. What I was going to do is to build crossbars and brackets off the sides to put the solar panels down in the center. The whole rack is about 52 inches and the solar panels are about 42 inches. But that's really a lot of extra work just to gain a little bit of extra rack. And I don't really think this is going to be strong enough to put much more than the panels in it. So what I've decided to do instead is I'm going to shorten this whole rack down to just over 42 inches, so that it's just large enough to house the solar panels, and then I can build small tabs on the bars instead of having to build any crossbars. And then the size of it and the compactness of it, I think, will be strong enough on its own. If not, I may end up adding one more crossbar and find some scrap metal or something. So I'm going to go ahead and start shortening this thing down. I've been working and not filming, but here's where I'm at. Putting a flat spot here in the middle, at a slight angle, because I want this to stick as close to the roof as possible. I made these little tabs out of some scrap metal. I'm going to mount the solar panel to. I'm just trying to get all the holes lined up and everything. Alright, so we got all the mounting tabs welded on here all the way around. So I'm going to test fit everything one more time. Alright, so I got the panels on. I angled them both outwards slightly so that water and whatnot will roll off of them instead of pooling on top. Also to keep them as close to the roof as possible, since the roof of the trailer is art.
One eternity later.
I got this awning, 8-foot awning, pretty cheap off of Craigslist. sorry, not Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, because I'm just going to build an extension piece here and bring it out so I can mount the awning to the sides of the roof rack. I have this piece of conduit left over from a job. I'm just going to use that. Should be plenty strong. There's not going to be a whole lot of force on it. So I notched the end of the tube, so it's basically going to fit on here like so to extend the rack. I got it tacked into place here with the third mount. That should extend it enough where the awning is going to stick out about 8 to 10 inches past each end. These bars are not perfectly straight. They have a slight bend to them, but it was all free metal, and it's not going to be perfect. I don't really care as long as it holds things in place. All right, I got everything tacked in place while it was on the trailer, and then I just pulled it off. I just got to weld these guys to there. So I'm going to go ahead and finish weld this whole thing. Went back, cleaned everything up, basically did another pass on all the junctions here. It should be nice and strong now. I also went back and redid a bunch of these tabs. These are where my solar panels mount. I didn't like, they just seem kind of thin, so I did another pass. It should be way more strong than it actually needs to be. It's really, really rigid. I don't think I'm going to add a cross piece here for what's going to be on it. I mean, a couple of solar panels and the awning are the only things that are going to be attached to this. So I think it'll be plenty sufficient. All right, next I'm drilling the holes for the mounts here. All right, I got all the mounting holes drilled. I decided to stagger the ones on the ends across the mount so that it's sort of not pulling on one side and mounting the other. I staggered both ends opposite. All right, so I just was thinking getting to these bolts is going to be kind of difficult. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to tack each of these to the rack itself so that they just stay in there. So that way I can just lift the panel on and off. All right, you can see I just tacked them in place. All right, I got the rack painted up. I let it cure for 24 hours, mounted it back on the top. You can see if I grab it by even the back of the bars, the whole thing moves. It doesn't budge at all, so I ain't going anywhere. All right, I got everything mounted up. Panels are permanently fixed on top. I need to wire them up and bring a wire down into the camper because they are going to be connected to my portable power station here, which powers my refrigerator and the other stuff I have in here. Got the Marketplace dirt cheap awning mounted up. Pretty happy with it. Not much money invested. The rack is all made out of recycled materials from old jobs. Like I said, the awning was $40 on Marketplace. I had to buy a patch kit and spend an hour or so straightening out some aluminum and fixing a couple of the holes, but it was relatively easy. I did pay for the panels new, but I dig it. I dig it. It'll be nice to have some coverage at the campsites under here, so you're not just stepping out into the elements all the time. Set up a little, I can set up my cooking station underneath here and stay nice and dry. For a simple setup, really, really happy with it. All right, thanks for watching.